Welcome to episode 29 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby podcast, brought to you by I Spy Surveys, the go-to specialist survey and inspection company based in Exeter, Devon. What a weekend of rugby we were treated to. We're going to be checking out the latest round of the Six Nations. The Red Roses weren't in action this weekend, but there were some thrilling games nevertheless. We'll also dip into the Allianz Premier 15s. Have DMP Durham Sharks got their first win of the season? We will find out later on in this podcast. We'll also check in on the news, see what's happening in and around the game. We'll probably tap up the old fantasy rugby, see if Ollie is steaming further ahead, if I've managed to catch him up. And I guess we could better review the Gallagher Premiership. But bloody hell, that's going to be difficult, because no doubt he is going to be smugger than the king of Smuggington. Anyway, let's get on with this podcast. Hello, mate. How are you?
Loser.
Oh my God! How much?
Oh, I know. I just had to start. I won't do that. That's it. That is it. I promise. We are the champ.
Oh Jesus!
Sorry, mate. I just had to get that out of my sister.
Mate. Let's park that. We'll come back to that in a bit, but rightly so.
Anyway, on with the pod.
On with the pod. Let's just get this going, mate. News. Let's start. I don't even want to do this. I just don't want to do it. Anyway, news. Let's start.
I've never been more excited about a pod. Right,
Okay.
Carry on,
Scott. So, Manu Tuilagi signed for sale. Good news for them. Good news for England. He's not buggering off to France or anything like that. Happy days.
Yep. Yeah, it's good. Very good.
Yeah, really good, really good. Shame he's still not at Leicester. We probably could have done with him on the weekend. But that's
You certainly could.
That's another. Everything is literally going to come back to it. Anyway, so Jack Noel was on the bench for Exeter this weekend. Good to see him back.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's been out for ages, hasn't he? So good to see him back on the pitch. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I do like his new mohawk haircut. Very cool. Not something that I could pull off at my tender age of 41. So
yeah, he's looking pretty sharp. He's obviously been using the time well in the gym as well, hasn't he?
Absolutely. So some other news: John Afoa takes on coaching role at Bristol. That's good.
I haven't heard that one. That's good.
Well, mate, source of all knowledge, the BBC, obviously. He's going to be there.
What role's he got there?
He's obviously going to be their scrum coach. He ain't going to be the backs coach, is he?
Well, you never know.
Well, true. He's probably good enough to do it, to be fair. So, so that's really good news for Bristol, and really good that John Afoa is kind of staying in the game in England as opposed to going anywhere else. But probably the most interesting bit of news, and not one that we can really touch on too much, but the Worcester Warriors back, Nick David, is signed for Harlequins. That's interesting.
Yeah, I saw that. That was, that's potentially a really good signing for them, isn't it? I don't know whether they massively need it, Harlequins, or they're sort of quite blessed with options. I suppose Mike Brown going.
Can he play fullback as well? Can he?
I think he can. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe he's.
I think sort of wings his sort of what you would class as his sort of first choice position, but I think he can play fullback as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd agree, because you've got you've got Green, you've got Kerridge, you've got Murley, you've got some decent wingers over there, but.
Nathan Owen, Liner.
Yeah, exactly. But who are we to say?
No, I think but again, I think I'm pretty sure Nathan Earl and Liner, to name two of those ones you just mentioned, I think they can also play fullback. So it might be a case of a bit of rotation on positions, isn't it? I think he's a cracking young player, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely.
Good. Good signing for Quins, not so good for Worcester.
No, and absolutely. We'll get on to Worcester in a bit. And just to keep up to date on our Saracens watch, They played Doncaster on the weekend. Owen Farrell started, led the way. Saracens put 50 past Doncaster, 50-15 victory for them. All the boys were there. There's pictures of Maro Itoje, Vunipola, lads. And more interestingly or not, linking in to the British Lions Lions, Townsend and Steve Tandy were watching the game.
I heard that.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting. He was playing for Surrey. So Lewington, Daly, Tompkins was playing, Maitland, literally an all international back row.
Well, how do you know they weren't watching the Doncaster players?
Well, they might have. No, hey, who knows? Who knows? But obviously, there's been some quite conversations about the boldness going on for the Lions coaches. Obviously, I am quite bold myself, and I'm just wondering if I might
fit in, wouldn't you, mate? You'd fit in.
I'd fit in really well, mate. I'm just wondering if they need a bit of a lad on tour. Well, they probably
water boy or something.
Mate, I'd do anything. I'd wipe their asses if they needed it. To be fair, just to go on that.
you cut up the oranges for half time.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe wiping their asses is a bit extreme, but yeah, I'll cut up the oranges. I'll clean their gum guards, jock straps, whatever they need, as long as they take me. It's absolutely fine. Before we get on to the Gallagher Premiership, I just want to. Obviously, there's the latest round of the Six Nations. The Red Roses obviously weren't playing this weekend. It was France versus Ireland, Italy versus Scotland. And basically, I was a little bit surprised because obviously we commented last week on how well Ireland did in their first game. France,
and then they got spanked.
Absolutely obliterated them, 56-15.
Yeah,
I was really surprised. I think, like you said, the previous week, there does still seem to be quite a gulf in class between the kind of, the teams in the competition. Like we said last week, I kind of thought that was a little bit off the track because Ireland did so well, but quite clearly, front runners are England and France, really.
Yeah, 100% looking that way, isn't it? It's sort of teed up now for a cracking final, isn't it? England and France. And I don't know, has it actually ended up? Do you know for the other two final fixtures? Is it it's Italy? I imagine are in the
so you've got
third and fourth game, aren't they?
Ireland and Italy are in the third and fourth. Scotland, Wales in the fifth and sixth. So to be fair, going on what we've kind of watched over the Six Nations, it's how you expected it to kind of go, really.
Italy, Ireland potentially could be a good one, couldn't it, as well? Because
absolutely.
And obviously beating Scotland this weekend was. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know if that was generally expected or from the experts of the women's game, but. Were you expecting an Italy win there, or was that?
Italy were a decent side, to be fair. Maybe not the magnitude, 41-20 against Scotland. Scotland had a good, although they had the score lines doesn't suggest it. That opening game against England, they played well in that second half. And Italy did produce a good first half against England, but then kind of faded away. So. Yeah, it's going to be. I think the one thing to kind of take away from the game that's coming up between England and France is the fact that it is at Harlequins at the Stoop. Obviously there's no crowds and stuff like that. But I tell you what, France is going to be up for that, mate. England took the Grand Slam last season, beating France. They are going to be wanting revenge, and the form they were showing, that could quite easily happen this weekend. I mean, I hope it doesn't, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, I hope not as well, mate. It's just hope for a cracking game of rugby, mate. We love it, especially if the weather stays as it is, isn't it? Get some nice flowing running rugby and lots of tries and a real good contest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully the Red Roses out on top.
Fingers crossed. Touch wood. So let's get on to the Gallagher Premiership. But let's do it in running order. So Friday night, Northampton. Looked they looked amazing. 44-26 at home against London Irish. I think we both we should really note down our predictions, but I'm pretty sure we both said Northampton would win that one.
Yeah, we did. And they did.
And they did
convincingly, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, Irish were in it at half time. It was 25-14. And Irish actually got off to a bit of a flyer score in the first try, if I remember rightly. I did watch the game. But then the likes of the scrum half Mitchell, Slightholme, they just looked, superior in attack. But they did also concede 26 points. And I just wonder if a game against a more kind of structured team, i.e. Leicester this coming weekend, the basics might... Shut up. The basics that Leicester kind of do, I wonder if they'll put a bit of a stranglehold on Northampton in that respect.
Yeah, you might be right.
You might be right. Oh, I think I've lost you.
Hello?
Yeah, you're still there. Try not to move around too much.
Until they come up against, I guess, no disrespect to the Irish, but maybe a stronger, sort of more physical, more defensive side, then we're not going to know. But I think with their remaining fixtures, actually, they've got a couple of
tough games.
Top six contenders.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just attacking wise, they're just playing some fantastic stuff, aren't they? So it's just lovely to see. And actually, if you let in a few tries, as long as you're scoring more than the other team, it's from the neutrals' point of view and watching some decent rugby, it's lovely. It's just great to see, isn't it? But
yeah, no, I'd agree with that one.
I totally get what you're saying. If they come, Bristol, Chiefs, Bath, that's probably about it, I think. But yeah. No, but if they they could get sort of strangled a bit, but I don't. But then again, they've certainly massively turned their season around, and they have got some big physical boys, haven't they? And they've got obviously Dan Bigger there to sort of control the game. So I'm sure they can sort of play it tight and physical and hard if they need to. But
yeah, I agree.
I think they're serious top four contenders now, Saints, I would say.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that one. I'd agree. So let's move on to Saturday's game, Exeter Chiefs against Wasps. And I think I was kind of umming and ahhing that Wasps might do it, but boy, as normal, especially this week, I've been proven wrong. Exeter Chiefs coming away with a 43-13 victory, but they didn't get it all their own way. Wasps were very much in the game in the first half. But I think Exeter's composure, power, skill, and just general all-round play just kind of saw them away. The mark of a true championship side that, you fight till the end and ultimately that's what happened. I mean, did you see Hogg's try, the second one, I think it was? That spiral kick and chase, that was ridiculous.
It wasn't bad, was it?
No.
Kick and chase, you're in, sort of collect your own kick and score. You don't see that very often. But.
No, but I think Exeter Chiefs Wasps were very much like your man, and nobody got him realistically.
Yeah,
I think it wasn't it Ogre chasing him back. He ain't going to catch Stuart Hogg. So
yeah, Stuart Hogg is he's got to be one of the fastest in the league, isn't he? But,
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, just like I agree. It was sort of Wasps put up a reasonable fight, more so in the first half, wasn't it? Like you say, but then second half, Chiefs just blew them away, didn't they? They blew them away.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It was good because I questioned or said it'd be interesting to see the reaction from Chiefs after their disappointing exit from Europe, wasn't it, last week? But they've certainly put that to bed with that performance. So
yeah, definitely, I totally agree, and they're now looking good. I mean, obviously they're going to have a tough weekend coming up with Bristol at Ashton Gate, but good tough game. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second when we do the. Just moving on to the next game, Sale Gloucester. Sale came out on top 25-22. Gloucester had a try disallowed in the dying moments. But I think the kind of interesting thing was Rob Dupree sent off, dump tackling Ruskin, tipping him up onto his neck, red card. Sale played most of the game with 14 men, but came out on top.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I didn't get to see much of this one. I've watched a bit of the highlights, but it was just a good grafted win from what I saw. Sort of.
Yeah, nothing fancy, just get the win sort of scenario.
Yeah. But overall, like you say, unlucky for Gloucester, really, wasn't it? But
yeah, definitely. And probably the most open-flowing game next up is Harlequins and Worcester. Harlequins coming out on top 50-26. If I remember rightly, I think they had the try bonus point secure after about 38 minutes. Harlequins are just ridiculous. I mean, their interplay, Don Brandt was on fire. He was offloading all over the place. The running lines of the guys, the sidestepping. They are seriously more top 4 contenders than Northampton, I think. And I think their style of play is quite contrasting to like the likes of Exeter and Bristol. And I guess if they get into the top 4, which I imagine they will, the question just is, are they hard enough? You know, are Quins going to go back to that soft underbelly that they're kind of renowned for?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, first and foremost, another fantastic game of rugby and performance by Quins, like you say, isn't it? Attacking wise, in particular, just unreal stuff they're playing. But I think actually them and Saints is probably fairly similar, isn't it? It's but they're probably at the moment on form, attacking wise, the best two sides in the league, aren't they? But question mark when they come up to a close, physical, real hard contested game, isn't it? Especially against the big boys, because I know Quins have fallen at the final hurdle against both Chiefs and Bristol already this season, haven't they? So,
definitely. Yeah, in the dying moments, lost both of them.
But it's looking like, assuming Sale sort of continue their form, then it's Quins and Saints probably odds-on favourites for that 4th spot, isn't it, at the moment? But...
yeah, I'd agree. I just would like to see. I would like to see Harlequins get it over Saints, because I just think they've just turned, since losing Gustard, they've just seemed to be a completely different beast. But like I said, I do just worry that when they come up against those big teams, are they going to have that soft underbelly? Can they match the kind of pound per pound big South Africans and, you know, the grounding play out of Exeter, that kind of, you know, dominant forward play?
Are you basically saying the likes of Joe Marler and Don Brandt and that have got soft underbellies? Is that what you're saying?
No. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you know what I mean. Don't try and be a dickhead. Look at you, all cocky.
No, I know what you're saying, mate. Yeah, it's well, we shall see. They got. I actually, I think I agree. I'd like to see Quins there, because like you say, the way they've done it, losing Gustard and completely turning their sort of season around and playing, just the fact that they're just playing some really attractive running rugby, isn't it? It's so nice to see. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, that Marcus Smith try, that was really good. Danny Kerr again is at his best, sniping away.
Nine's 9.
Nine's 9 for Danny Kerr. Mike Brown at 15, that'd be good. So then the next game we've got is Bristol away at Falcons. Falcons were in this game up until half time, but they just had too many compounding errors and falling off tackles, penalties, etc. Bristol came out on top 34-17. Bristol do Bristol things, and you know, they're rightly sitting at the top of the table, something like 12 points clear of everybody else.
Yeah, can't really say no more, mate. It's again, Bristol just doing what needs to be done to continue to win games, isn't it? I think it was fairly emphatic come the end, wasn't it? Second half dominance with the likes of Max Mellons and Benno and all standing up and pulling out some pretty damn good performances, wasn't it?
So basically the Saracens lads then. So you're saying that Bristol without the Saracens boys wouldn't be anywhere near the top? Is that what you're saying?
It would make it. I'm not saying that. It would. With all joking aside, it would make a big difference, I think. But I think Pat Lam would be sorry to see those boys go, because at the end of the season.
I'm only joking, mate. I think they're class players, aren't they? But then you got to look at like this game coming up with Exeter. Who do they actually pick? Does Malins even get in the team?
Well, this is it. Yeah.
You know, Piatow, Purdy, Morahan, O'Connor can play on the wing. Randrander in the centre. You know, would you play Malins at fly half if Sheedy isn't available, because he went off injured, didn't he, after a nasty shoulder charge from the Newcastle prop, I think.
Yeah, and you got Leon Lloyd as
well. Leon Lloyd as well, yeah. Is that,
But
you know?
yeah, exactly. You know, if you're picking what you class as first choice, isn't it? Then who do you pick? But also, actually, do Bristol now look to start resting players? Isn't it? They're big guys to save them for the semis, because I don't think they're not numerically guaranteed a home semi. I don't think yet. I haven't actually studied them. I don't think they're quite there yet, but they're not far off it, so they can
No.
actually afford to throw a couple of games or
Yeah, but I don't think they'll want to do that against Exeter. I think they're going to go full bore against Exeter, and maybe the latter games they might do that.
Yeah,
Rest a few boys up.
I hope they do, because you'd love to just see full strength sides going at it this weekend. Or it's Friday night game, isn't it, for them?
Yeah, Friday night game, definitely.
Because that could be a thing. It's more important for Chiefs, isn't it? So that makes it real.
Yeah, because they're already 4 points ahead of Sales. So yeah, definitely more important for Chiefs to get that victory. I don't know if you can hear any banging, but I'm currently having a chimney taken down, and there's lots of things falling down and bricks and stuff. So if it is
covered in soot, mate, you're covered in soot.
No, not quite. But if it is picking it up, that's what it is. If there's loads of noise. So anyway, then that moves on to Sunday. Leicester played Bath. Bath won, and let's go on to the fantasy rugby. You know,
getting onto fantasy, is it, mate?
No, actually, there's no point in going on to that either, is there really? Okay, so look. All joking aside, in my opinion,
the better team won.
No. Leicester
well,
on
they
the
did because they won. So
hang on. No. Hang on. Leicester were consistently the better team throughout the game. They dominated the scrum. They did the basics better, all that kind of stuff. However, Bath never gave up, which is an absolute credit to them and fair play. But you've got to be honest, if Wise hadn't done that stupid pulling the guy back, giving the penalty and the kick to the corner, it potentially could have been a different story.
Well, yeah, Wise here's now's Wise, and no, little things like that can be very important.
It was stupid. If you haven't got the top 2 inches, i.e., like our podcast is called, the top 2 inches, and you do something like that, then you deserve to lose the game. And I said that on Twitter.
In the top 2 inches with that, didn't he? But,
it's just silly. But I did think Leicester played well.
I agree. I'm not like we have our joking banter, but no, actually, but that's almost worse for Tigers.
Yeah,
because I've sort of reflected on it, and actually, Leicester, apart from a couple of silly areas, played the better game of rugby and probably played close, fairly close to the best performance-wise that they can do at the moment. Whereas Bath were a long way off their best and realistically left a lot out on the park. They could have got another 3 or 4 tries if they'd been more clinical.
Yeah.
So that, to me, to the real positives from, I mean, I think that's unfortunately more of a negative for Leicester, because you put out a good performance and Bath were underperforming, and you still managed to lose the game. Which is a concern, isn't it? I'm not having to go at Leicester, but just in rugby in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for the flip side to that is Bath found a way to win, even when they were not getting those clinical finishing those. There was a couple in the 22 and the Falato break later on in the game, and that should have been another 2 or 3 tries sort of thing, and then they weren't clinching those, and you think, oh, this one's just not going to happen today. But they managed to, like you say, keep battling on and found a way to win. That's probably, for me, that's the big difference in Bath since they've turned their season around. It's just that they've managed to find a bit of grit there, which they maybe didn't have all the time or consistently before. And I think that game, if you play that maybe at the beginning of the season or a couple of seasons ago, that sort of thing, that would have 9 times out of 10 been a defeat for Bath. So I think it's a great positive for Bath to actually pull it back and clinch the win at the end. And also the fact that they did underperform. They were probably, I don't know, percentage-wise, but they were probably no more than sort of 70-80% of their best, and they left tries out there. I mean, it's positive, because if you can get the win and then roll on to the next one and just keep trying to improve game on game, then that's a good thing for the rest of the season. But they're still in with a shout of contending for top 4. It's a big ask, especially with the fixtures that are left. But unfortunately, that may well be the end of Tigers top 4.
Yeah, I'm under no illusion, mate. I think that you're probably right.
Look, suddenly, son.
Whoa,
Guaranteed, it's in the DNA.
Hey, it isn't. Whoa.
The
Yes.
first time all season.
Well, I'm realistic. I love Leicester, and it is in their DNA, but it's not in their DNA the last 3 seasons or this one, unfortunately. But next year.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, it's
they're definitely
like if you take away the fact of the sides that we sort of support and all the banter and everything, like just try and look at it with a balanced view. Like Tigers obviously have been vastly improved this season, compared to the last couple of seasons since Borthwick's been there. So it's great. They're definitely on the up and looking really positive for the future. But actually, if you look at where they are in their transition and building, and the squad that they've currently got compared to the likes of Chiefs and Bristol and arguably Sale, sort of strength and depth and the rest of it, then they're not there yet, are they? So
no,
if you look at it just like that on paper, I would say they're not a top 4 side yet. But maybe with a few more sort of, what's the word, sort of selective, crucial signings. And keep this momentum going, then next season or even the season after, they'll be serious contenders. But and the flip side, Bath are in a transition. I think what showed at the weekend is they're probably a few steps ahead in their transition than Leicester, weren't they?
Yeah.
And that's probably all, at the end of the day, is all the difference was, isn't it? If you take away all the individual moments of the game and decisions and everything, but.
Yeah, no, I think Borthwick commented on that, didn't he? He said that, Leicester pushed a good team that are further ahead in the kind of, where they want to be. So, but no.
Did he? I did. Okay.
Yeah, he did. Look, fair play to Bath. Like I said, obviously it's massively disappointing, not just for Leicester, but also from the fact that it gives you bragging rights until we meet in the Challenge Cup final and we absolutely pump you. So anyway, can you imagine
psychological blow there, though, mate?
Yeah. So imagine that. How much grief I will give you when we beat you in the Challenge Cup final. It will be astronomical. It will be everywhere.
I think it's done. It's already done, mate. If we meet, it's done. To lose that game in the weekend like you did, that's too much of a psychological blow there. There'll be.
Disagree. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get past it, thank God. Predictions for next week. Bristol Chiefs.
Humdinger of a game. I really, as we said, I really hope they both. I think Chiefs certainly will, and I hope Bristol do as well. Put out full strength, and it's just the game of rugby that it really has the potential to be. But I'm going to back Chiefs.
Yeah, and I'm going to go for a draw.
Really, a draw?
Yeah, why not?
Come on, put your money on someone. Put your money on someone. You can't go for.
No, I would go for Bristol.
Right, okay, fair enough.
I'm going to go for Bristol. I don't think very quickly, just to go back, England, France, we're saying red roses, aren't we? Because we don't like the French and we're English.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay.
I mean, tough game, but come on the red roses,
definitely. Okay, Harlequins at London Irish. Quins. Yeah. Gloucester Falcons.
Gloucester.
Yeah, I'm going to say Gloucester as well. I think just at home that will give them the edge. I think yeah, definitely. Saints at Tigers. Tigers at home.
Saints at Tigers.
Yeah.
Saints.
Ooh, okay. Sale at Worcester. Sale.
Sale.
Yeah, Sale are going to just humperdink them.
Oh, just it's so sad. Worcester, they've just lost it this season, haven't they? The
Yeah,
last,
they were really poor.
4 or 5 fixtures. They were contesting fairly well at the first definitely the first half of the season.
Yeah,
Literally in the last, I don't know what it is, 3, 4, 5, 6 fixtures. They've just
gone downhill.
And it's not just a gradual thing. It's just they've just fallen off a cliff, haven't they? They're getting
proper rapid.
Might be some changes in the coaching or management.
Well, Thomas is coming in, isn't he? And Solomon's supposed to be going, I think. So I don't know if that's caused a bit of a, managerial rift, maybe. I don't know. Bless you. And again, Sunday's game, Bath at Wasps. Now, this would be so Bath to go to Wasps and lose, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, it would be.
Yeah. Well, historically, maybe the Bath. To be fair, that's a game that most teams could go and lose because Wasps, when they perform, can beat anyone, can't they? So, but I'm obviously going to back Bath and hopefully roll on with the momentum and positivity of results that they've been doing the last few rounds. So, Bath for me.
Cool. I'll be honest. I'll agree. I think Wasps' season's pretty much over, and I think Bath momentum-wise now, if they don't win, I'll be really surprised. But yeah, I'd say Bath as well. Okay, cool. Fantasy rugby. It was a decent week for both of us. To be fair, we both scored over 500 points. I think you were four more than me.
What, 4 points?
Yeah, 4 points this week more. But as I'm sure you're going to let everybody know, you had 2 players that didn't play and you had minus 20 points. So technically, you probably would have been a lot more ahead. That's
the game. That's the game.
Yes. And so given the fact that I've already agreed that Leicester's top 4 might not be possible, it is getting increasingly more unlikely that you will be losing the crown this season. I'm going to seriously have to go. I think I've got to beat you by something ridiculous, like 120 points each week, haven't I? Now, probably.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's probably 80 odd, something like that, because I'm about 500. I don't even know what 500 and something ahead, isn't it?
Oh, listen to me. You do know. You've got it written up on the side of your van.
Is it six rounds left now?
Yeah, something like that.
Apart from the semis and the final, isn't it? You got 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. Yeah, 6 rounds. So I reckon, you probably need to be, because basically when it's the way the fantasy works is the semis and the finals tend to be quite close on scores anyway, don't they?
There's less players. Yeah, you
can only choose from so many players, but I think you probably need to be sort of 80, 90 points around. But, so it's doable. It's doable.
It is doable, but it's unlikely.
Do you want me to skip a week? Give you a chance, mate?
No, because then that's even worse then. So no, you're all right. Anyway, listen, mate, I know you're on the road and I've got to get going as well. So thanks very much once again for joining us. Thanks for being so humble and not bragging anyway, shape or form.
Not a problem.
What a guy. And we'll catch up again soon.
Great. Thanks very much, mate. Speak to you next week.
No worries. Tigers.
Come on back.
Tigers. See you later, dude. Bye.
Cheers.
Okay, so the penultimate round of the Allianz Premier 15s took place over the weekend with some fantastic fixtures, results, tries, and none other than DMP Durham Shark. I would just want to take a moment, considering we have spoken about them and the kind of difficulties they've had this season. Congratulations to the team, to the coaches, to the staff and to the fans. They have secured their first fixture of the season, 34-17 away at Bristol Bears. They didn't get it all their own way. Bristol got off to a bit of a flyer, scoring 2 tries, but then DMP started the comeback, and by half-time they were actually 12 points ahead. Bit of a seesaw in the second half, but a final Blacklock penalty put the game beyond doubt in the closing minutes. So once again, fantastic result for DMP Durham Sharks, securing their first victory of the season. Wasp ladies consolidated their position in the top 4 with a victory over Gloucester Hartbury 25-20. and that victory will pretty much see them into the semi-finals with one more round to go. Likewise for Harlequins ladies, a victory against Worcester, 31-7. Harlequins had a bit of a shaky start to begin with, but then got the momentum going forward, and have a home semi-final, I believe, with one round to go. Unfortunately, Loughborough Lightning lost 29-38 to Saracens. This little victory pretty much seals Saracens being at the top of the table, but I think Loughborough Lightning will also be in the top four, because Exeter unfortunately lost away at Sale Sharks 10-17, and that pretty much means that Exeter aren't able to get into the top four playoffs in their first season, but they equally should be extremely proud of finishing where they do after the next round. Talking of which, as I've said, there is one more round to go. We'll just have a quick look at the positions in the table. So Saracens are top on 74, Harlequins are in second on 68, Wasps are on 66, and Loughborough Lightning are on 55. So I would suggest that we would have Saracens at home against Loughborough, Harlequins at home against Wasps. It's looking like it could be another Saracens Harlequins final at the moment, but Wasp ladies are on some good form. Next week's results see Harlequins are away at DMP, Sale are away at Loughborough, Bristol Bears away at Wasps, Saracens are away at Worcester, and Gloucester Hartpury are away at Exeter Chiefs. That was episode 29. Thank you very much for tuning in, downloading, subscribing and listening to us chat about rugby. Oh, that Gallagher Premiership review was so difficult. Anyway, we'll be back next week with episode 30. Can't wait for that one, with another round of the Gallagher Premiership, another round of the Six Nations, and the Allianz Premier 15s. Obviously, we are available on all networks ranging from Anchor to Spotify, YouTube and Apple Podcasts. We are over on Twitter at Top2InchesRP, and also on Instagram. Ollie is still managing our Instagram account. I have noted there's quite a lot of posts about Bath over the weekend, but I guess I'll just let that one slide. Anyway, keep yourself safe, and we will be back next week. See you soon.